Middle. Okay, so today's Amud is Daf Ches Amud Aleph. Welcome everybody. We're going to start on Daf Zayin Amud Base, the Mishnah at the bottom. It's about 8 lines from the bottom of the page. It says the Mishnah. Now, a quick akdama. We're going to be learning about what happens when a guy swings the axe, something goes flying, kills someone. Does he go to Golas? Machlekes b'chol what the case is, but we'll see. We're talking about the head of the axe goes flying, part of the tree goes flying. It's Machlekes Rebbe and Rabbanan. What's the din? Let's see. Nishmat habarza mikitai. Nishma means it fell off. Habarzel, the metal from the kitai, the stick of the handle, the axe handle, right? So the head of the axe goes flying. V'hara, going to kill someone. Rebbe Yomi ein gola. Rebbe says you do not go to Golas. He doesn't go to Golas. We'll see why. Is it because he's einus? Is it because he's sheigeg? It's actually a machlekes rishonim. Why is he ein gola if you're Rebbe? Is it because, let's say he's holding this axe, right? If the head's loose and he swings it, you're amazing. What are you doing swinging an axe with a loose head, right? Some rishonim learn he's ein gola because obviously the head of the axe is tight. We're not talking about a b'shugana here. It's tight, and therefore he had no reason to assume the head of the axe is going to go flying. So he's einus. It's like, so you got a machlekes here. Either he's ein gola because he's sheigeg, ein gola because he's mazed. Either way, this wasn't a classic sheigeg that he did something unintentional. So it could be, you could say either it's loose or it's tight. Either way, ein gola. Says the Chachamim.
In one case he's being irresponsible.
Yeah. In the other case,
the other case, it was a freak.
There was a freak accident. There's no way for him to assume the head's going to go flying. I have to say this case actually happened to me once. Obviously, no one got killed, but I bought a brand new hammer in the store. You know, the rubber handle hammer, and I was building my sukkah. I live on the 5th floor. Swung the hammer, head went flying, 5 floors down. Thank God no one was anywhere near the place. But it was like, I was like, oh my gosh. So that was totally honest. Like, there's no way for me to assume this brand new, you know the rubbery hammers that don't leave a dent in the wood. So that's what I'm using.
Mallet?
Yeah,
rubber mallet.
Yeah, rubber mallet. That's what it's called. Good. So Chachamim say gola. Chachamim say you are gola. I guess you are considered negligible in this case. Negligent, not negligible. You're negligent in this case. So says the Mishnah, mina eita mitbakeah. If it's coming off the tree goes flying. Rashi learns that we're talking about now. You swing an axe at the tree, a bit of the tree now goes flying, kills someone. So in that case, Rebbe Yomi gola. That's the case where Rebbe says gola. There's a pasuk that they're reading into. The pasuk says, we'll get to the pasuk in a minute, but the pasuk's mashma that according to Rebbe, the tree's going flying. If the tree goes flying, that's unexpected. That's a einus. You expect the tree to go flying and kill someone. In that case, you're not gola the chachamim. That's the case where Rebbe says you are gola if the tree. So there's 2 cases. The first case is where you hit the tree, but before you hit the tree, head of the axe goes flying. Second case is where parts of the tree goes flying. It's interesting that the Rambam learns this, the second case completely differently. We're not talking about a case where part of the tree goes flying. We're always talking about where the head of the axe goes flying and kills someone. The first case is the head of the axe goes flying before you hit the tree. And the second case is where the head of the axe goes flying after you hit the tree. So when you read like this, mina eita mitbakeah, it's all part of Nishmat the Barzel. Skip a few lines in the Mishnah. Mina eita mitbakeah, after it hits a tree, then Rebbe says gola, Chacham say ein gola. And if you the Rambam, you're going to have to learn how you read the entire Gemara over here. So that's the machlekes. Rebbe Chachamim, whether you're gola or ein gola, before it hits the tree or after the tree goes flying. So says the Gemara. Tanya, we have a brisa. Amalem Chachamim, Amalem Rebbe Chachamim. Rebbe told the Chachamim. The brisa is going to explain the machlekes Rebbe Chachamim. V'chinema v'noshal habarzel meitzai. Does it say v'noshal, implying that it falls off? It itself falls off. Sorry, v'noshal habarzel meitzai. Does it say it fell off from its handle? Its tree, like its handle. It says it fell off the tree. The height of the tree is hitting. It doesn't mean the handle fell off the metal thing. What's the metal thing in English called? Is there a word for it? It's talking about the metal fell off its handle, its eights. It fell off the tree it's hitting. In other words,
So
he's
it
saying...
didn't rebounded.
No, not it rebounded. Rebbe's learning, the tree hits the handle hits the tree, and then the tree goes flying, or then if you're the one when the handle goes flying, after it hits the tree, it falls off. It doesn't say v'noshal me'etzai from its handle. It fell off from the tree that it's hitting. That's how Rebbe is understanding the pasuk. It doesn't say
Assuming it would be
me'etzai.
embedded in the
Mina
tree.
eitz, huh?
Assumably it would be embedded.
Well, no.
in
Let's
the
say you have this big metal axe, and then you hit just the corner hits the tree. It can get knocked
guess,
off, dislodged, and go fly and kill someone. So it doesn't say v'noshal baza meitzoi from its handle. Elo v'lolenim elo mina eitz. A part of the tree goes flying. V'oid, another reason. So that's the first reason. V'oid, Rebbe says, Nemar eitz lemata, v'nemar eitz lemala. It says twice in this paragraph 8. Ma'etz amol lemala mina eitz amit bakei. It's talking about the tree, the actual tree you're chopping. Af eitz amol lemata. Also, the eitz in this pasuk, mina eitz amit bakei. It's talking about the tree itself, not the handle. So it's talking about part of the tree goes flying. We'll learn Alephi Rashi. It's talking about part of the tree is going flying. So that's just two rayas. It doesn't say mina eitz. It doesn't say meitzai. And also you have a hekesh. It says here, or it says here eitz, it says there eitz. It's talking about the same tree. We're not talking about the metal falls off the handle. Amar B'chia bar Ashi Amar Rav. So Rav says, V'shnei mikra echad darshu. Rebbe and Chachamim are both learning the same pasuk. It says v'noshal habarzel mina eitz. The metal falls off ha'etz, the tree, right? Rebbe Sava yesh emil meseiris. There's a machlekes. Are you dairish the way you read the pasuk? Are you dairish the way the pasuk's written? So Rebbe says you dairish. We learn that from the way it's written. Meseiris, how it's actually written. And v'nishal ksiv, it says nun shin lamed, and it's written like you say v'nishal. That it falls off. V'nishal meaning it takes off something else, not that it falls off itself. V'nishal like it takes off from it knocks off something else. For Rabbanan Savra Yeshem Lemikra, Rabbanan say, we learn not lefi how it's written, we learn lefi how you say it. We say v'noshal. You don't read the pasuk v'nishal, you read v'noshal. So, and v'noshal means it fell off itself. Okay, the Rishonim Stam, they want to know, it doesn't say v'noshal or v'nishal, it says nun shin lamed. You can read it either way, right? So they're both kind of how you read it, and you say it's the same thing. So what they explain is when you read v'noshal, you have to add an aleph or a hey. It's like v'noshal. It's a longer tnuah. It's a longer movement. V'noshal. V'nishal is like a shorter thing. You're missing less when you say v'nishal. V'noshal is more of you're missing more over there. So it's really written, even though you can say it's written v'noshal, v'nishal, it's just as nun shin lamed. But the question is, what's the written mashma more, v'nishal or v'noshal? It's mashma more the way it's written, v'nishal. You're missing less. If you say v'noshal, you could add an aleph there, you could add a hey. It's a longer tnuah. Okay, dikduk. I'm not into dikduk. Rebbe, so Gemara asks now. So we have here a machlekes. We're trying to explain this, the way they learn this pasuk. V'noshal, it's a machlekes, whether you read v'noshal, v'nishal, what are we being dairish? So Rebbe yesh eim lemesayis svirlei. Does Rebbe really believe that we learn dairish from the way it's written as opposed to the way you say it? Really? I have a Gemara that V'amar Rabbi Yitzchak by Yosef Amar Rabbi Yechon. There's a Meimer b'shem Rabbi Yechonon that says as follows: Rebbe, Rabbi Yehuda ben Royetz, Rabbi Shammai, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Kiva, all these great Tanaim, Kulu Svirlu Yesh Eim LeMikra. We always dairish the way it's written, the way Mikra from Lashon Kriya. You learn that from the way it's written, not from the way it's said. Sorry, we learn that from the way it's said, spoken, as opposed to from the way it's written. So you see here, Rebbe's one of these guys. So how could you tell me here on the previous Amud the Rebbe learns with dairish the way it's written, v'nishal, not v'noshal? So the Gemara answers, an interesting answer. Hainu dekami luhu va'id. That's why when the Gemara gave these two reasons, he said the first reason, and then he says va'id. It says eitz here and eitz there. That's why he says va'id, because the first reason isn't enough. L'chayra. The question that the Rishonim want to know is, what do you mean? You just slogged up the first reason. So it's not a va'id. It doesn't make sense to say you got one reason and another reason va'id. You just said the first reason is not true. Rebbe doesn't hold of Yesh Eim L'Masera. Rebbe holds Yesh Eim L'Mikra. So why would you assume? Why would you say this lashon va'id? There's another reason. There is no other reason. The first reason is fake. So what the Rishonim explain, what the Ritva says is that normally, of course, Rabbi holds, like Rabbi Yochanan said over here, yesh aim lemikra. But because of this diuk of mina eitz v'lei me'itzai, that's why he wants to learn that the mashmais is to, in this case, be dosh the Messiah, not the mikra. In other words, the first reason in the Gemara, he's not slugging up the first reason. The first reason still applies. Because of the first reason, mina eitz v'lei me'itzai, that's a reason why Rabbi should be dosh in this instance, yeshem Messiah as opposed to yeshem mikra. Okay, so that's your two reasons. Omar Rav Papa. Now we're going to try and learn out from this case a separate din. Very similar. Omar Rav Papa. Man deshada pisa ledikla. A guy throws, it's machlekes of pieces like a clump of dirt or actually like a cement block. So a guy throws like a cement block at a tree, at a decal. Va'asa tamri. Also from word like v'nosha, you can exchange a tough and a shin. V'nosha, like it falls, nishira, it falls. V'nosha v'azal tamri, the dates fall. V'azal tamri v'katol, and then the dates, they go ahead, they fell and they killed someone. So what's going to be the din? This is similar to our Mishnah. Bonam lachlaikas, the Rabbi Rabbanan. Huh? It's similar to the case of Rabbi Rabbanan. Instead of throwing the axe at the tree, he throws a cement block. Right, and then the dates fall and hit someone. But it's very similar to the second case.
Your action that caused it.
Huh?
That's not your action that caused it.
Why? You threw the cement block at this tree.
You threw the cement block in the tree, and you made a thing in the tree.
So that's similar. Ignore the way the Rambam learns the Mishnah, but the way Rashi learned the Mishnah, right? He throws the axe he swings the axe at the tree, and then a bit of the tree goes flying and kills someone. Here also, you threw a cement block at this tree, and it goes flying.
It's a secondary thing.
So the reason why, I'll explain to what you're saying. What you're saying is that with the axe, you're still holding on to the axe. That's not called koichai. That's not coming from his power. You're holding the axe. That's considered gufai. It's like a yad arichta. If you hit the tree with your hand, you hit the tree with a hammer. That's not called koichai. It's a
extension.
It's not
of your body.
yeah. It's
extension of your body.
Yeah, it's an extension of your body, as opposed to being a repercussion of something you do, as opposed to being right. It's literally your body. But when you throw something at the tree, you're no longer attached to it. You threw a baseball at something, and that thing goes ahead and hits someone. So we're going to see in the Gemara what that means, the implications. It's not direct. It's more indirect.
Grama.
The Gemara here doesn't use the word grama. The Gemara is going to use the terminology of kaychay or kaychay. Is it your direct action or your indirect action? That's the way. That's the lashon of the Gemara. So, bottom line machlekes Rabbi v'Rabbanan. This is going to be a machlekes of Rabbi Rabbanan. Which case of Rabbi Rabbanan? The second case, not the first case where the head of the axe falls off before you hit the tree. This is Rashi. Take a look in Rashi, the last wide line in Rashi. Bottom line machlekes. Dahainu dumi demina etam is bakeya. It says it's similar to the case where part of the tree goes flying, right? The second case, where Rebbe says Gaila. Rebbe should say Gaila in this case. You hit the tree goes flying, Rebbe says Gaila, right? So, bottom l'chayka is Rebbe v'Rabbanan. So the Gemara says Pshita, right? What's a chiddush? Obviously, right? No chiddush there. No, the Gemara says it is a chiddush. Ma'u detema k'koichai. I might think that when you throw this clump of dirt at the tree, that's not direct. That's already indirect. And koich should be pata. Even though Rebbe normally says gaila, when your axe hits the tree goes flying. Rebbe says you should be gaila. That's considered a koich. Here it's koich. You threw it, left your hand. That's kaichai. Throwing the bag of cement block at the tree, that's kaichai. When the tree goes flying, when the tamarim go flying, that's already kaichai. So you might think that it's kaichai and you should be parted from galus if you're Rebbe. So in this case, everyone should be parted from galus. Kamash Malan, no. Even if you're Rebbe, you're chayv galus. So Kamash Malan, you're chayv galus. Why would you be chayv galus? So what the Rishonim explain is, why you chayv galus if you're Rebbe? If you throw something, hits a tree goes flying, just because you're not holding on to it, that's still considered a direct action from you. You take a cement block, you throw it at the tree, that's considered direct. That's considered like gufay. And now when the tree goes flying, it doesn't matter if you're still holding on to the hammer or you let go of the hammer. You know for sure the hammer's going to hit it, there's a trajectory, that's a direct hit. When the tree gets dislodged, it goes flying, that's already a secondary process. The whole shayla is why is koyach koychai potter from galus? Machlekes u'shaynim. If you do something directly, chayiv galus. Indirectly, koyach koychai you potter from galus. It's a machlekes. Is it because it's not considered your maisa? I hit the tree goes flying. I didn't send the tomorrow to go flying. I hit the tree. It's indirect. It's not my maisa. It's not mishtayach to the guy. I didn't do that. Or is it because it's einus? There's no way for me to have known that this tree is going to go flying and kill someone. So that's the machlekes. Is it because it's not your maisa? I didn't do that. Or it's because it's indirect. The nafkamin is going to be, for example, lagabe nezikin. If you indirectly you don't kill someone, but you broke his car, right? Same thing, you hit the tree goes flying, breaks the guy's brand new car, right? Hits his Tesla window, which costs 30,000 shekels to repair. So now, what's it in? Are you chayiv or not? The Rosh says, by Nezikin, that you chayiv by Nezikin for koyach koychai. So if it's not your maisa, why should you be chayiv? I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. I hit something hit you. You can't be mechayiv bin Nezikin. But since he holds you chayiv bin Nezikin, it's mashma. Why you chayiv bin Nezikin? It is your maisa. Rakma. We can't send the guy to Golis because there's a little bit of an einus. He didn't know what's going to happen. So even though you're a little bit einus, it's enough to be mechayiv you mominus. You have to pay. It's not like you didn't do it. You did it. It's your maisa. Just there's a little bit of einus over here. That's a side machlekes. It says the Gemara. The Gemara is going to ask, so if this isn't koyach koychai, so what is koyach koychai? Lefi Rebbe. If you're going to tell me that throwing it at the tree and the tree hitting it, that's indirect, that's all one koychai, so what is koyach koychai? Stop, interesting to know. The Rishonim ask, who said Rebbe has a koyach koychai? The Gemara says, koyach koychai Rebbe heichim mashkach. Where do you find koyach koychai lefi Rebbe? Who said Rebbe holds a koyach koychai? Okay, but we'll see. Koyach koychai Rebbe heichim mashkach. So Kagain, what's the case? The Shada Pisa. He throws this cement block, umachya, and it hits the grama. The grama, Rashi says, if you look on the side, Rashi says the grama is the actual tree. It's a tree. Vaza grama, and the tree falls, umachya lekavasa, and it hits the eshkol. Rashi says the kufsa is the eshkol of Tamarim. So you hit the tree hits the eshkol of Tamarim, and the Tamarim fall and kill someone. Vazatami lektal. So you hit the tree hits the eshkol hits the guy, that's koyach koychai. And in that case, Rebbe will say, Einai goyla. But if you hit the tree and the tree hits someone, Rebbe says goyla. Says the Gemara, says the new Mishnah. A guy throws a stone into the Rishus Harabim. Not a good idea. Completely recklessly, throws a stone into Rishus Harabim. V'harag, he kills someone. Harizeh goyla. What's it then? Golus. Rebbe Lezer ben Yaakov Eimer, imich sheyotza ever miyodai. After the stone left his hand, hala hoitzi hala sroishay. That guy stuck his head out the window. The kibla, and he got smacked in the head with a stone. How is it potter? Then he doesn't have to go to Golis. So if a guy's standing there, he throws a stone, Golis. He throws this Evan. But if he throws a stone and then the guy decides to stick his head out the window, potter from Golis. Says the Mishnah, Zark Evan lechatzerai. He throws a stone in his chatzer, going to kill someone. What's it then? Now we're not talking about it's outdoors, in the wild. He's in his chatzer, throws a stone. If the guy that gets killed, he was allowed to be there, then you shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't have thrown the stone. This guy might be there. Pay attention. Why are you throwing the stone? There might be a guy there. He's allowed to be there. Gaila. Vimlav. If he wasn't allowed to be there, so you shouldn't have assumed that he's going to be there. Vimlav ain't a gaila, so you're not gaila. Shenemar, it says in the pasuk, he brings a pasuk. It says Vasher. What does it say? Vasher yovoy esrei bayar. Maya, now the Mishnah's Dirish, Maya, Rishus L'Nizik L'Mazik, just like they're both allowed to be in the forest, L'Konesham, Afkol, Rishus L'Nizik L'Mazik L'Konesham. You're only goyle if they're both allowed to be there. Yotze Chotza, this comes to exclude the Chotza Balabayas. If this guy walked into my Chotza, She'ein Rishus L'Nizik L'Konesham, he wasn't allowed to be there. Guy breaks into your property, you're busy throwing stones around, he gets killed, you're not goyle. That's Pashat. So if someone walks into your chutzah without rishus, you have no reason to assume he's there. You're busy throwing stones, you're busy shooting darts, I don't know what you're doing, and a guy sneaks in, gets killed, ain't a gaila. You have no reason to assume that guy's going to be there. Says the Mishnah, Abba Shal Omer, Ma chatovas eitzim rishus, just like chopping the wood is rishus, af kol rishus. You have to be doing something that's a rishus, as opposed to a mitzvah. Yotza av hamakas benai, a father hits his son, which is a mitzvah. V'arav areides talmidai, and a rebbe that's hitting his talmid. V'shliach basin, and the shliach basin that's hitting whoever it is, the guy that was over Averis. They're all doing a mitzvah. In which case, what's it in? Ein a gaila. So if you're doing a mitzvah, ein a gaila. The place can speak about, if we can learn from here about a doctor. The doctor's doing a mitzvah. He's trying to heal someone, and he kills him. Is he gaila? Ein a gaila. It looks like he's doing a mitzvah. Now there's a Tosefta, I think, that says it's mashma that he is gaila. A doctor is gaila. Why is a doctor gaila? He's doing a mitzvah also. The doctor's doing a mitzvah. He's trying to heal someone. Why is he gaila? So some want to say it's because if he killed the guy, it turns out Lemafreya, he wasn't doing a mitzvah. He thought he was doing a mitzvah. He's really doing a mitzvah. He killed the guy. He wasn't healing him. So maybe that's why he's gaila. It's an interesting shaila. Why would the doctor be gaila? Some want to say, I think this is mashma a little bit like this, that the Tosefta holds ein gaila. That's going like chachamim. Ein gaila. Lefi Rebbe, he would be gaila. Ein sham. The question is the Tosefta, is that la halacha or not? It could be he's going like he holds like the other mandarim over here, as opposed to Abba Shal. Now, is Abba Shal arguing on the Tanakama? It could be he's arguing on the Tanakama when he says if it's a mitzvah you're not gaila. The other the mandarim before says even if it's a mitzvah you're gaila. So maybe that Tosefta holds like the Tanakama here. Even if it's a mitzvah you are gaila. Interesting shaila. The other big question is shliach based in. What are we talking about here? Well, who's a shliach? Oh, so there's two options. Either we talk about Makos, some of the Chaim go that way. Other Rishonim say we're talking about a case where the basin says, bring this guy, bring Yankel to basin. He's not giving you a get, or there's an entire against him. He says, I'm not coming. So the shliach basin is allowed to hit this guy. Let's go. You come to basin, slaps him around a bit. You got to come to basin. They hire a big guy, and that guy, that's what we're talking about. He's not mitzvah to hit the guy. It's not like a Malkus, and we'll see why Malkus is a problem. The question of Malkus is like this. If they always do an assessment before they give Malkus how many lashes the guy could take, what's safe for this guy? So if they said the guy could take 39 lashes, and the shach gives him 39 lashes, so why should he be, what's the half a minute to be gaila? It's mamash einus. The doctor says, yeah, he can take 39. The guy gives him 39, he dies. Well, what do you want from this poor guy that's giving him lashes? The doctor said he could take 39. It's complete einus. He should have been known better than the doctor based in the don't hit the guy. It's Einus Gama. If it's talking about the case where Basin says give him 20, and he gives him 25, right? But he gives him 21. He went above what the doctor said he could take. So that's not an Einus, it's not a Shegi, he's Mamash Oretzach. The guy's, it's Korpral amazing. Of course the guy shouldn't be Gaila, not because he's a Pesheya, not because he's an Einus, he's Mamash Pesheya. Why are you hitting this poor guy? Mm-hmm. So someone will say he's talking about a case where they told him he could take 20, or he told him he could take 39, but he miscounted. 1, 2, you count money. For some reason, every time you count money, you got to do it like 10 times to get the right amount, right? He miscounted. He thought he gave him 39, he gave him 40 by mistake. I don't know how they worked out afterwards he gave him the wrong amount. I don't understand the shita, right? Well, no, you gave him 40, not 39. And they said, okay, you gave him more than the basin said you should take Gaila. Others want to say, but it's no longer a mitzvah. Once he's making a mistake, once he's gone over the 39, that's again not a mitzvah. So why is he Gaila?
It's an act.
So if you think you're trying to do a mitzvah, you didn't do it, but you weren't doing a mitzvah. You thought he was trying to do a mitzvah. It doesn't say if you think you're trying to do a mitzvah. It says if you're doing a mitzvah. You're doing a mitzvah, ain't a Gaila. We're going to see the Gemara. Let's see the Gemara. Now, I like what you're saying. It's a mahalach. It says the Gemara, Lushus Harabim. He throws a stone into Lushus Harabim. The Gemara asks, what do you mean? Gaila. Amazing who? If you imagine you walk down the street, you see a guy throwing huge boulders into Rosh Hashanah. Gaila. What do you mean? The guy's Mama Shor Etzach, right? What are you throwing stones in Rosh Hashanah for? Amazing. Why is he Gaila? Amar Rav Shmuel by Yitzchak. He's talking about case. B'seis is case like he's knocking down a wall in his house, and a stone goes flying to Rosh Hashanah. He's not just the guy playing, baseball with blocks in the middle of the street. He's knocking down a wall, and a block goes flying. So Gemara says, why are you knocking down the wall? Check, make sure there's no one there. So Gemara answers, besides this case of Belial, it's talking about he knocks it down at night. So he assumes no one's there. So Gemara answers, Belial nami Belial at night, also make sure no one's there. What, you can kill people at night? So Gemara answers, besides this case of La Ashba, behind his house there's garbage. And the Gemara is going to explain. Hi Ashba Echidomim, what's the case of this garbage? If people hang around in this garbage can, Pasheu, he's still a Pasheu. What are you knocking down your wall into this garbage can? If people don't go there, then it's mamash einus. The guy should have assumed people are there. It's interesting, Rit points out here, it doesn't mean Eloi Shchichi if it's not very common. What he means, Eloi Shchichi means if people never come there. For the guy not to be a Pasheu, it's got to be a case where no one comes, no one hangs around there, right? Eloi Shchichi doesn't mean it's not Shchiach, it's not common. It means Lehefech, no one comes there. So then it's einus. What should the guy have done? He knocks the wall down, no one's ever there, all of a sudden the guy's there. Amar of Papa, we're talking about Leit Tzricha. Huh?
We should have put up signs.
Put up signs, exactly. Leit Tzricha. We're talking about like a place where people go to the bathroom there, but they only go at night. No one goes there during the day. I guess it's too visible, it's too near the street. People don't go there during the day, but at night people go in there and use it as a bathroom. Sometimes the guy will walk in there during the day and use it as a bathroom. So Pashele Havi, the Einasilapanis, he's not called completely negligent because people don't use it normally. 99% of the time no one's there. Right? You can't say it's complete einus. It's totally unforeseen circumstance. Why? Because sometimes people use it. So it's somewhere in the middle. It's not never, it's not sometimes, it's somewhere in the middle. Taishas asks, what on earth is going on over here? Why do you have to say, talk about cases where they use it at night, but they don't use it in the day, and maybe some guy's using it during the day? Just say, it's somewhere that people don't usually use it at night, but sometimes a guy could use it at night. Why do you have to say that people use it in the day and they don't use it at night? And that? Just say it's talking about a place where people sometimes use it at night, and then the story. So Tai says, because if no one's ever using it on a regular basis, he shouldn't have been thinking about it. Since people use it at night regularly, so you should think, maybe a guy's going to use it now during the day. That's why you're Pasheya. Since people are always using it at night, so now during the day, you should have paid attention to make sure that no one's using it. But if it's a place no one ever uses, just sometimes a guy uses it at night, that's already einus. Take a look at Taisus. We might as well see inside. Taisus ba'ashba, 3 lines down. Vim taima v'linka be'ena sili panis klal. No one ever uses it. V'gam b'layla yikad but at night, a guy might sit down and use it. V'yesh laima dim kein einus. That's already a complete einus. The leisele sukai taiti. He should never have assumed that guy's going to go in there at night and use his bathroom. Okay. Says the Gemara. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Eimer. Tana Rabbanan says in Mishnah, Umatza prot lebamtzi esatzmai. Says in the pasuk of Matzah, the head of the axe finds this guy, kills him. That's the Lashon uses. It finds him and kills him. Prat lebamtzi esatzmai, as opposed to the guy that he found the axe, he stuck his head out. Mekana Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov imish yotza ever miyade. Once the stone leaves his hand, this guy sticks out his head. The kibla, and he took that stone in his head after he stuck his head out. Then he's potter. The guy threw the stone first, then he stuck his head out, potter. So Gemara asks, L'meimer the matzah mikara mashma? Does that mean the word matzah always means it was already there? It was already there, Varaminu. We have a contradiction. Mamasha, Ramenu always means it's like an open stira. It says a matzah prat l'matzah. Shalayimka barachak v'yigal b'karev b'rav v'yigal b'yafa. What is this talking about? Everyone knows that when you sell a field, after 50 years it goes back. When Yovel comes, all the loans are cancelled, all the I don't know what, the avodim go free, but the land all goes back. You sell land, you sell it for 50 years, right? But there's another din that not everyone knows, that you sell land, but you can buy it back within the 50 years. You don't have to wait till Yovel, you can buy it back, but that's only if you didn't have the money, you sold the land. Now matzah, now you found money, now you could buy it back, right? Or let's say, but that means if you had a smaller field, you can't decide after 2 years, I'm going to sell the smaller field to buy back the bigger field. In other words, how do you buy back a field? You make an evaluation. If you sold it for $1 million and there's 10 years left, so each year you have to pay $100,000 for the field. So you want to buy it back 2 years early, you're going to give the guy back $200,000. And let's say you've got now a small field that's worth $200,000, you always had. So loyim kabakav, you can't go ahead and sell your $200,000 field to buy back this $1 million field early. If you always had the money, too bad. Interesting note. Why? What's the idea that you should never? The fields always go back to the owner. So what someone's saying is because it's exile basically the city should never be built up. No one's ever going to build a city in this field, and in 10 years' time, that farmer who I bought the field from now owns this whole city. People should live in farms. That's the klal. Everyone should have a field, live in a farm. Exile no cities. Cities are a bad thing. Interesting. Anyway, so that's what he's saying over here. It says umatzah, you got to find the money. You found the money. Umatzah, you found the money. Prat l'matzah. If you already had the money, then you can't buy back the field. You can't beguile the sada if you always had the money. Prat l'matzah. Shalim kabarachayk vigo bakar. You can't sell a field that you have a lot of time on and buy back this carved one. Or bara vigo biyofi. You have a bad field and you want to buy back this good field. So in that pasuk, v'matzah means it's a new thing. Now you have it. It's not like it was already there. So we've got to steer it. Does matzah mean it was always there or it's new? Look at the pasuk. Look at the context. With the axe, it's like the pasuk. It says vesiga yodai. Sorry, with the field. Vesiga yodai mahashta. Af matzanami mahashta. It says vesiga yodai. His hand reached it. So he got it. That means that he didn't have it before. Now he's got it. Matzah is talking like the field, like the yar. My yar midi the asim isim ikar. The field was always there. Matzanami midi asim isim ikar. It was always there. So you look at the context. Is the context mashma it was always there, or the context mashma it wasn't always there? Next, Gemara Hazarek esa Evan. Amalei hum Rabbanan l'Rava. Rabbanan asked Rava, how do we know we're talking about guys chopping wood down in a case where it's reshus, it's not a mitzvah? He's chopping down wood for sukkah, which is a mitzvah. He's chopping down wood for the Beis HaMikdash. And the Torah says, go to Golos. Why does Abba Shal say, when you're doing a mitzvah, you're not gailer? Maybe this guy's chopping down wood for a sukkah. Amalei, so he says, it's not a mitzvah to chop down wood for your sukkah. Why? If you find wood already chopped down, right? Love mitzvah. There's no mitzvah to chop down more wood and use the new wood, right? Hashanami love mitzvah. Therefore, there's no mitzvah to chop down wood. Even if you don't have wood, it's not a mitzvah to chop down wood. There's a big cloud. What's called a hechsher mitzvah? He's saying, what's a hechsher? It's a hechsher mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah. Now, if you find wood, is there a mitzvah to go and chop new wood? No.
What if it's actually
There's already wood.
What if it's actually wood?
Let's say you have nice wood, you have beautiful wood. Is there a mitzvah to chop down new wood? No. So there's no mitzvah inherently in chopping down wood. The mitzvah is to build your sukkah. It's interesting. Rashi says before, there's a mitzvah to build your sukkah. That's a mitzvah. But to chop down the wood, that's indirect. That's a hechsher. Huh?
It's a mitzvah to build a sukkah?
That's what Rashi says here. Take a look. Is Rashi or Taisus? 1 second. Taisus? Hold on.
He doesn't know what it is. Takes his question.
Rashi or Taisus says that the mitzvah is to build a sukkah. Here.
See it, yeah, Rashi.
Here, Rashi, take a look at Rashi Hashtanami. Hashtanami ki loy matzah chatuva, ein chatuva mitzvah. Chopping down wood is not a mitzvah. Ella asiyas sukkah. Building the actual sukkah, that's a mitzvah. You build a sukkah and someone comes and says, give me $5, that's stocker. Basically a mitzvah, potter in a mitzvah. That's why maybe people building sukkahs for 3 months before sukkahs. You build your sukkah, you put them in a mitzvah. Building pagodas is a mitzvah. So, Eisivei Ravina Ravas. Now, Ravina asked Rav a question. Yotza Ava Makos Benai, Barav Areides Talmidai.
What's considered a siyat and sukkah?
What's considered?
A siyat and sukkah.
I get building the sukkah, as opposed to indirectly chopping down.
Not just putting stuff on top.
Good question. Don't know. Lochera, the 4 walls is the sukkah. He doesn't say asisa schach. He could easily said asisa schach. He says asisa sukkah. But Rashi somewhere else says the ikasuka ikaschach kriya sukkah or something like that, but the sukkah is a schach. So I don't know how to pass it, like, I don't know. The Mashmaya says actually building the sukkah. Chopping down the wood, that's too indirect. Building the sukkah, you need 4 walls. 4 walls is part of the sukkah. That's the sukkah, right? It's an interesting question. What's called the hechshem mitzvah? What's not? There's very big nafkaminas. Eisve Ravina Rava, Yotza Ava Makos benoi, Varav Areides Talmidai. It's interesting why there's a different lashon for the Rav and the Talmud. One is Makkah and one is Reida. So some say because Makkah is more of a lashon bachzorius. So the father that loves his kid much more, he can be much machzori, but the Talmud, and this is how I think the Torah paskins, a Rav, you can't hit him with a big ritzua, you can't hit bachzoris, the Rav can only ever hit a kid with badinut, like gently. Otherwise, he's running away. Varav Areides Talmidai, v'shliach beistin, and a shliach beistin, all doing a mitzvah. So leima kiven di ilu gomer. Let's say if this Talmud learns Torah already, he knows Torah, lav mitzvah, so it's not a mitzvah to hit him. Based on your svara, hashanami lav mitzvah. Now based on your svara, that it's not a mitzvah to hit the guy, because if he knows Torah, if he's a good Talmud, there's no mitzvah to hit him. So now it turns out that hitting him is not a mitzvah. Maybe it's a hechshem mitzvah. So hashanami lav mitzvah. So go on. Says hasam afagav the gomer mitzvah. Even if the Talmud knows Torah, he's already learned. It's still a mitzvah. T'chsev yasa bincha v'yanichecha v'yanichecha bita madal nafshecha. You hit a kid, it's always good. Always good to give a frusk. Never hurts. I think all the placing was said for like 100 years already. That it's also going to take kids. It just mazik them. It just distances them from Torah. People haven't got koyach to take it. I hit them anyway, just in case. If he hates all the shitas.
You do to your brother too?
Yeah, especially my brother. Right, Benji? Hada Amarava. Well, no one else is going to be mechanech there. Hada Amarava. La. Oh, we're over time. I'll just finish one more line over here. So says the Gemara, Hada Amarava, Lav Milsi Hada Amri. This that I said, that's wrong. The whole thing I said till now, L'chayr it's wrong. Some say he's not arguing on it, he's saying that there's another reason. The big machlekes, massive halacha l'mais and afkaminas about whether the din of hechsha sukkah, hechsha mitzvah, not hechsha mitzvah, being hitting a kid even if you didn't learn, but he says another reason. He says, V'asher yoves re'biyai. He uses lots of V'asher. Di boy ayil, yi boy lo ayil. He's talking about he could go, he could not go. Isal kadadich mitzvah, if it's talking about a case where you're hitting the wood, that's a mitzvah, misagi lo ayil, could it be, he doesn't go to the field. So the mashmais of Pasuk says, V'asher, it's optional. He's doing something, he's building himself a nice pergola. He's not doing a mitzvah. Ad kan. Shkoyach Rabbi Sai.
Shkach.